Hi, we're currently looking at an Apprentice Google Docs badge evidence page, and I'm going to go through each of the success criteria for you so that you can gather the evidence for yourself and achieve the badge, which is handy. So you can do this at home or at school, depending on whether you have time in class. So I've got my Apprentice level success criteria document open, and I've also got a Docs badge blank document ready for any stuff that I might put in that I'm sort of accumulating along the way as I gather the evidence. So if I scroll down and have a look at the first success criteria I need to work on, it's that I can save a Google Doc to a specific folder. This is a fairly easy one. So I'm going to go into my Google Docs badge evidence, and it's not in a specific folder at the moment. It's just sitting in my drive, as all new G Suite apps do. They automatically create a file in your Google Drive. But if I want to save it to a specific area, I move my cursor up to the little folder there that's in grey, and if I hover it over it, it says move to, and I can move it to a specific place on my drive, and it will open up Google Drive, and I can just follow the prompts there. It's a fairly straightforward procedure. So I might save it into Cafe there. So there's my little document, and I can save it to a specific folder, just like we did in the Google Docs. Move to, like we did in the Google Drive, should I say. So that's that one. The next one, I can type up a document. I can paragraph my work. Now these two, number 9 and 10, you might wish to go into your schoolwork and use one of those documents as evidence. You don't have to create a new document every time. So if you've got some work with paragraphing and the fact that you've just created a document to type on, that would be enough for that evidence. So I might go into my drive and have a look for a document, and there I've got a document ready to go. It's created, it's in paragraphs. Just wait for it to load up. So you can see there it's in paragraphs, and I can use a screenshot of that to collect the evidence. I don't need a completely new document for that. I can complete basic formatting to my Google Doc, for example, change the font size, font alignment, and dot points. All of those functions lie along the toolbar across the top. So on the existing document, I'll go back into the essay again. If I want to change the size of the font, make it bold, I simply highlight the text that I want to do. So I'm going to do that whole first line. So pressing down and then dragging with my other finger on the trackpad, or simply clicking at the start of the sentence or the word that you want to highlight, and hold down the left mouse button and drag it across. I can then make it bold, italic, underline it. I can change the color. I can change the font size, make it bigger. So I can do all of those sorts of things. So if you capture an image of that, then that will be enough for that part of the evidence, as long as it's in paragraphs as well. I can use the undo and redo buttons. So undo and redo are over here. If I click undo, it'll eventually take it back to the original. So taking a screenshot of those two buttons and where they sort of sit on the document would be all you would need for the evidence of that. I can access any Google Doc within my drive. Open up Drive, and there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can simply look for a Google Doc in your files that are just sitting there. You can search for Google Docs. So that was one of the options as I typed into that search bar there, text documents, and it shows up all of my Google Docs. I can also search for a specific document. essay, and I can also, by clicking that little arrow there, I can search for the kind of document that I want. Or I can search for other type text documents. Okay, and it'll search for it, and it should come up with anything that has essay in it. Okay, so there are a few ways of doing that. So using the search bar, text documents, or the drop-down menu there, and I can search for the type of document with more specific criteria for the search as well. I can print. Now, at school and at home, it's difficult to print. You have to have a printer that's compatible with the G Suite apps, but you can print from the File drop-down menu, and it's the very last menu item there. There's also a little icon there just under File of a little printer. So screenshot of any of those would be fine. I can orientate my work to portrait or landscape. That's when we have our piece of paper either vertical or horizontal. To do that, I'm going to go back into my essay document, and I'm going to go into File and Page Setup. Here you'll see where I can adjust margins, I can adjust the paper size, the page color, and the orientation as well. So I can change that orientation. If you take a screenshot of that, and I'm going to change it to landscape. Report inappropriate content to my teacher. That's something that you would do through the Chrome Hub. So if we go back to the home on the Chrome Hub, on the very right-hand side, we've got a cyber safety concern log where you can report any inappropriate content that has been presented to you in Docs on there. So that's not in Docs as such. You have to go elsewhere for that, but that's fairly straightforward. That's easy. I can insert a working hyperlink. Let's just say I've got an article or a website on cats that I want to share. I'm going to type in cats in Google, and let's just have this cat adoption website. I'm going to copy the web address. Then when I go in here, I can highlight the cat and the ideal pet, and then click on the little chain here which says insert link, and then it gives me some options. I've got some suggestions here from Google about what I could link to, or I could use my own suggestion and paste in that web address, and it will come up blue and underlined, which means that when I click on it, I've got a little link there to that website. So again, I copied the web address doing Control C. I then highlighted the text that I wanted to be the link, went to the little chain and inserted the link in there. So I'm going to undo that. All right. I can insert a table. This is where I might go to my blank document. Across the top here we have several menu items. They're very similar to Word and Pages. Insert allows us to insert anything that we want. An image, a link, an equation, a drawing, a chart, and a table, which is what we want to insert now. When we hover over the table option, it gives us a grid, and we can see the size of our table all the way up to 16 or 20 by 20. I don't need anything that big. I'm just going to go with a 4 by 5. So that's 4 columns by 5 rows. The next item on our list is that you can format your table to display information. So that would mean that we might do something like highlighting a row, going to the background color, changing it so that we have a nice header row. We might also have some headings here. So I might make them bold. So this is extending on from the formatting criteria a little bit earlier. So now I've organized it so that it looks easy to read and easy to get information from. Inserting a page number, inserting a header and footer, inserting an image, inserting from search. I'll do the image ones later. So inserting in a page number and a header and footer. We can do that again by insert and page number. It gives you some options for where to put the page number. I quite like it down the bottom right-hand corner. So you take a screenshot of that, and then you've got your header and footer as well. So one screenshot could capture all of those. Inserting an image is also in that menu item, and you've got a few options. You can upload one that's on your files. You can take a snapshot, so that will use your camera. If you've got a web address that has a picture, you can use that. You've got your own photo albums. You can search for stuff in your Google Drive, and you can do it from a search. Now, this is the next item on the criteria. I can insert an image from search. So using this search, we can do a couple of things. So if I wanted a car, for instance, I can type in car and I'll get all sorts of cars, lovely cars, nice blue one there. But let's just say I wanted to be more specific and I wanted to have a clip art car. I could change it so that it's a drawing. And if I wanted green cars, I simply click on the picture so that I get a green clip art car. That narrows down that search so that I'm getting a specific thing, and which is the next criteria. I can insert an image based on a specific color, and that's exactly what I did just then. So using the search tool in insert image, and then refining that search. So let's just say I want a photo. So these are all actual cars. Let's go for yellow this time. So you can see how that works and how that would be handy if you wanted to match the color of your car or whatever the image is with a background or something like that. That would be handy. So a picture of that would be sufficient. Inserting an image from a web link. So if I do a Google search for cats again and click on images, I get a whole heap of cats. That one looks cute. I'm going to click on that. And when I do my two-finger click on that page, it gives me a series of options for saving. So you can save the link, you can copy the link address, you can save the image in a new tab, and you can save the image as well as copy. So I'm going to copy the image address. Insert image, URL, paste it in there, and it will come up with that picture down here. So again, my two-finger press gives me all the options for copying. I can copy the link address as well, which I think, from a web link. And I can also have that as an image that pops up when I link to the page. You can see where that image came from.